Revenge films.
My name is Ariel, and I'm 24 years old. People are often surprised to know that I'm still living with my parents. My parents get along really well, and they never argue. Because of this, we are a happy family of 3. But there is someone that is jealous of my situation, and her name is Melanie. Melanie and I are colleagues at work. She stood up because she was so beautiful. Melanie lives by herself, and she is envious of the fact that I still live with my family and that we all get along. One day, Melanie asked me if she could come over to my house. I talked to Melanie at home, so my parents have heard about her, and they told me that she was more than welcome to come over. I decided to invite Melanie to our house, and we gave her a warm welcome. My mother spent hours cooking a nice meal for Melanie, and my father went out and bought the finest wines. We all had a great time with Melanie. Melanie told us that we were a lovely bunch and that we had a beautiful home. After that, Melanie came over to our house frequently. One thing that struck me as odd was that she had a sudden interest in my father. She asked me a lot of questions about him.
Did your father work as a model when he was younger? He's so good looking.
Oh no, he could never be a model. But I guess he's pretty good looking.
I see. Well, now I know where you got your good looks from.
I was used to having people tell me that my father is attractive because he really is. I assumed, like many of my other female friends, Melanie had a small crush on my father. A few days after Melanie came over, Melanie sent me a text message by accident that she had meant to send to my father.
I'm so looking forward to our weekend trip together. I can't wait. I miss you so much.
I was sickened by the fact that Melanie was acting like my father's girlfriend. I was shocked by this text message because I knew how much my father loved my mother, and I didn't think he was the type of man to have an affair. I was so angry with Melanie because she had been coming over to my house under false pretenses. Many people looked up to my parents because they got along so well, and people would say that they were perfect for one another. I knew that Melanie must have tried hard to get my father's attention. He was not one to go looking for trouble. I felt bad for my mother, who cooked such nice meals for Melanie each time that she came over to our house. I now had a reason to believe that my father was cheating on my mother, but I tried to act like everything was normal. But every time that I spoke to my father, I wondered when he was lying and when he was telling the truth. I felt uncomfortable being around him, so I started to go out drinking with my friends every night.
Ariel! I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. What's keeping you so busy?
I've been busy with work, and this busy schedule is going to continue for some time.
I hope that you're not dating someone and keeping it a secret from us. If you are, we'd love to meet him.
Look, I'm not comfortable discussing private matters with you. Please don't ask me if I'm seeing anyone or not. Ariel, why are you being so cold to your father? He's only worried about you. My mother was totally clueless, and I felt sorry for her. Aren't you going to say something, Ariel? Just leave me alone, okay? I need some space. I don't understand the sudden change in behavior. Are you stressed out about work?
Ariel.
I wasn't sure whether I should tell my mother about my suspicions or not. But then I received another text from Melanie, which she was supposed to send to my father instead of me. I couldn't take it anymore.
Please don't tell Ariel and her mother about last night.
When I thought about it, my father had come home late last night, which made me even more suspicious. I was now fairly certain that Melanie and my father were having an affair. I was furious with my father, and I couldn't keep quiet any longer. I had a private conversation with Melanie at work and confronted her about my father. What's going on between you and my father? You sent me 2 text messages by mistake implying that you two are having an affair. How could you?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to see those messages.
And then she left me standing there by myself. When I got home, my father greeted me with a smile as usual. I couldn't stand it anymore.
Hey! Nice to see you home early tonight. I made some fried chicken for dinner tonight. Your favorite.
How could you be so cavalier? I know that you're having an affair with Melanie.
What are you talking about? Are you crying?
I can't believe that you would cheat on Mom. You're despicable. My father tried to calm me down and told me that this was all a huge misunderstanding. I then showed my father the 2 text messages that Melanie had sent to me by mistake. He told me that Melanie must have made this up. Because I had raised my voice, my mother came into the living room concerned. What are you two arguing about? There's no need to yell. Ariel, calm down and tell me what's going on. In tears, I told my mother about what happened with Melanie, but then my father had said something totally unexpected. You're talking about last night, right? Your father and I went to a late-night drive, so he couldn't have been seeing Melanie behind my back. Your father is telling the truth. It looks like Melanie is concocting a story to make us fight. I guess that makes sense. I didn't think that it was in Dad's nature to cheat on you.
That's right. I would never cheat on your mother. I love her too much. We went for a drive to see the night view of the city, and it was stunning.
Oh, okay. I'm relieved to hear that. Your father was so worried about you. You've been coming home late these days, so he thought that you were dating a guy that you couldn't introduce us to. So, we drove over to your office after to see if we could see you there.
You two are crazy. I'm not hiding anything from you.
We saw you come out of your office with 2 female colleagues, and so your dad was relieved and we drove home after that. But we did make a stop by the beach. That's why we didn't get home until late last night. I was coming home late every night because I thought my dad was having an affair, and I didn't want to face him. Well, you have nothing to worry about. Your father was with me the entire evening last night. I was glad to know that my father wasn't having an affair with Melanie. I showed the text messages that I received from Melanie to both my parents this time. My father then showed me his phone as well to let me know that he didn't have Melanie's phone number in his contact list. The profile picture of his chat app was one taken with my mother. I now knew that Melanie had made this up to hurt my family and I. I was furious. After talking it over with my family, we decided to invite Melanie over to our house one more time. Melanie had no idea we had already made up as a family. After welcoming her into our house, I asked her about the 2 text messages regarding my father. I also told her that I had already checked my father's phone and made sure that he didn't have her number in the first place. Melanie, you need to explain yourself. Why did you do this?
I would never cheat on my wife. I'm happily married to her. What you did was very hurtful, and we're very disappointed in you.
I have no idea what Ariel is talking about. She must be making all of this up.
Then show us your phone.
Fine, here you go.
When I opened the chat log in Melanie's phone, I saw who Melanie had been in touch with. Melanie took her phone back from me. She admitted that she only pretended to be having an affair with my father, and that it was all a lie. Just as I had predicted, Melanie had a crush on my father, and she wanted to make me think that she was having an affair with my father. She was hoping that by tricking me, I would tell my mother about the affair and that my mother would divorce my father as a result. She sent those fake messages on purpose to get me to think that my father was having an affair with her. The day that she sent me one of the messages, she saw my father talking to his manager and realized that he was going to be working late. She took this opportunity to make it look like my father was spending the evening with her. Now that we have the full story, my family and I were livid with Melanie. Melanie, how could you do this to us? We graciously invited you into our home.
You made my daughter question my love for my wife, and that is unforgivable!
I'm very sorry. Please forgive me.
I'm not going to be able to forgive you for what you did to us. My mother was so kind to you.
Ariel, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry.
May I say something? Of course, no need to hold back. I never felt anxious because I completely trust your father. He would never cheat on me. He's not like that.
You're the only woman that I love, sweetie.
Melanie's plan to ruin our family ended up as a big failure. We then asked Melanie to go home and regret the choices that she made. But there was one more thing that was still bothering me. When I had looked into the chat app of Melanie's phone, I saw that she was in touch with a married man from work. I could tell from the messages that she was having an affair with this man. The next morning at work, I went to see my manager and told him about what I saw. The manager told me that this was not the first time that someone had come to him with something like this. As a result, he decided to carry out an internal investigation to see if Melanie was having an affair or not. A lot of information came out about Melanie's affair with a married man, and it had become a huge issue. Melanie was fired from her job, and her lover was sent out to work at another office. I found out later that Melanie liked to have affairs with married men, and this was not her first time. I hoped by losing her job, she would regret her past decisions and not make the same mistake again. Now that Melanie is out of my life, I went back to living happily with my parents. I won't ever forget Melanie for what she did to my family, but I was glad to know that my parents' marriage is even stronger than ever. When I find the right man, I hope to have a very happy marriage life like my parents.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.